Welcome to Bold Talk series, where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Vadym Ivanenko, Managing Director of Europe and Central Asia at Euronet Software Solutions. Vadym, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Well, day is great, so happy to be here.
Great. Every day is a great day, right?
Well, I got here in payments and banking, not at some point, not by just one decision. It was a serious decision that brought me here. And as you mentioned, I've been I would say almost every day. Yeah, 99% of days are perfect.
Yeah. Even when it's like very difficult day, you can turn into a great day because you can learn so much for that, right?
You're going to go and sleep at the end of the day.
That's right. Vadim, great having you. Let's start first with your background. You've spent over a decade building software before you ever built a career in fintech. Specifically, what was that moment you realized payments and banking infrastructure was where you want to spend the next chapter of your career?
Well, it's a great question. And actually, it wasn't just one moment, and I got here in payments and banking, not at some point, not by just one decision. It was a serious decision that brought me here. And as you mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. One of the businesses was an outsourcing agency. So we've been doing software development, design, then marketing and so on and so forth. And we had a bunch of clients that needed a payment gateway, integrating some payment features in their applications. And this is where it all started. And at some point, we decided with my team back then that we want to try to develop some products. We started working with own products. We developed a few wallets. We sold a few wallets. Then the crypto era started. So it was easy money back then. And I met few great people. We've built a great cryptocurrency wallets, digital wallet exchanges, and so on and so forth, digital currency exchanges. And at some point, the crypto market collapsed, and we had to do something to survive. So together with the team, we decided, all right, we're gonna build white label digital banks, white label digital wallets, try to sell it to either banks that don't have mobile applications or to somebody that want to try their powers in becoming a neobank. And this is how it all started. And this is how ended up in after like 15 years in Euronet Software, where I'm actually selling enterprise grade solutions to banks and governments.
Yeah. So talk about the products you build like Ren and Dandelion, right? And Skylight as a cloud-based solutions, right?
Well, these products are not the products that I've been building actually. So I joined the company recently. It's a little more than 1 year. So all was built. So I joined when everything was already in place. But the story behind the software, well, is just, well, I really like the story of Euronet Software Solutions. Actually, everything in Euronet was built by Euronet for Euronet, and Euronet actually is running the system that right now we're selling to banks. So we're not just a software provider, we are an operator, and we are operator first, and then we actually became a software provider.
Interesting. And with that, when you're talking about your solution, so I think when I was doing some of the research, found that your team recently helped power national digital transformation project with the Central Bank of Mozambique. Is that right?
Well, this is one of my favorite use cases. I wasn't the one who actually participated in sales or integration. It was in 2018, I believe, when everything started. But I really like this use case. It's tremendous. I really like to tell about this to my current prospects and to some projects that are very similar to the one in Mozambique. So the story behind this is that we actually, well, it is one of my colleagues already had a really great, customer base, the network, and there was a good momentum. So Mozambique actually was running on other vendors' software, and there was some, bad negotiations between, government and the previous vendor, and the vendor shut down everything for 5 days. Can you imagine? So no, you cannot make payments, nothing like this. So, and we came with our solution, and we had to integrate 22 banks into the system. I believe there was 15 or 1800 ATMs, and we had to make it in really short time frame. So Of course, it took a lot of effort to launch everything in a really short time frame to make sure the whole ecosystem is transferred to our ITM and rent solution. There are two solutions actually, and well, it was done, and as far as I know from current or recent reports, it's really helped to build economy, like rebuild economy inside the country. This is why I like, because it affected every single household in the country.
Mm, yeah. And what is the difference? Because obviously, like, delivering fintech or infrastructure to a government and central bank compared to a private bank or retailer, right? What is that different? Like, what's the expectation?
I can tell the difference. Well, from the technical standpoint, it's not a big difference. It's gonna be the same system, the same modules, the same infrastructure, but just on a bigger scale. You have to integrate more. If we're talking about, the solution like for central banks. But if we're talking about the sales process, it's absolutely different because you cannot just knock in the door of the central bank or call them and say, "Oh, guys, we're gonna sell you something." You have to actually, and the central bank does not make this decision. Politicians do. So you have to be like a headhunter first. So you have to establish the right relations. You have to educate them on how it's gonna affect the whole country, how people gonna benefit, how government gonna benefit, and this is a long process. And this, it comes from political will. If we're talking about delivering solution to governments, it comes from political decisions, political will to innovate in country, to build some infrastructure. It also comes with benefits. It helps government, to get more taxes in place. This is number one benefit. So there is educational path. You have to find the right people, educate them. Then you have to convince that your solution is the best. You have to prove it. Nowadays, if you don't have really use cases, like in Mozambique, for instance, which I really like, you won't be able to convince anyone that, worth talking to you and actually starting innovating the whole country with your software.
Yeah. Yeah. What an experience, Vadim, huh?
Well, I can tell you, I really enjoy it. So it's interesting rather than just calling some, just pitching these on the conferences. You have to do really interesting job. You have to be passionate about this, and only then you will be able to, talk about such projects.
Nothing without passion, right?
Absolutely.
Talking about the future of money or like stable coins today. You've had an experience with all this future money like crypto and wallets and everything else. Excuse me. Stablecoins and digital assets are finally being taken seriously by mainstream financial institutions and governments. Where do you think Euronet and companies like it will be forced to change the most in the next few years because of that shift?
Well, if we are talking about Euronet, it already happened. So we're not just to put it in our backlog and just waiting for the next few years to see what's going to happen on the market. So we already done a number of transactions in the Q1 this year. So last year we announced partnerships with a Fireblocks company. So we integrated the blockchain into our ecosystem, mostly for, well, right now for own settlement purposes. So for it gonna help us to our business like Riyadh and Delion, our EFT division, the money transfers remittance business. So we made it for ourselves first, and the next thing that's gonna happen, we probably gonna make similar solution for banks. So right now we use it for ourselves. The next step is gonna be delivered to banks who will take this seriously, and they will, because ultimately, well, stable coins really solve one of the big issues inside banks and in money transfers: the liquidity, the settlement speed, right? So with this solution, banks will just compete. One bank will integrate and see, and other gonna take a look, see how this bank benefits, and they will try to, just repeat the same. But this also has to come with, let's call it political will or business. This is business solution. So if bank has a board members that are not educated enough on how it works, how it gonna benefit, it gonna be, well, these banks gonna probably lose because decisions come from the top to bottom, not vice versa. So definitely there should be some loud use cases. So gonna board members from different banks will just see this, understand how it works, and then you will see how it's gonna affect banking. It's gonna change. Well, at least it's gonna change remittance business.
Mhm.
And this is this is a big portion of income for banks.
Mm. Now, obviously, as we see, like most of the hard currencies are going down. It reminds me in a days where, like in some countries, you hear like a hyperinflation, right? It's like kicking in, like as you can smell it from far away. Do you think stable coins are the solution to that to prevent that type of scenario?
Well, I'm not a macroeconomist, to be honest, but I hear different opinions. And I don't, well, my opinion is that if the whole economy, we're not talking about the currency, if the economy is broken, then I don't think stable coins will, change the things. If you have a supply chain broken, it does not really matter whether the euro is bad or US dollar is bad or, how good stable coin is. So I'm gonna be more about supply chain, macroeconomics, politics, rather than kind of survival plot for the world. But I do believe that Bitcoin is one of the this is something that I would personally hold for a reason. This could be a good alternative. The same you're gonna do with gold. You can also, if the bad times come, you can, get some food in your stock and so on and so forth. So it's all more about the macroeconomics and politics rather than, the technology behind.
Yeah. Now, Vadim, if you were mentoring someone who wanted to build a career at the intersection of banking technology, the way you have, what is the boldest piece of advice you would give them about the next 5 years? Because 10 years now is like way too far
Yeah.
with the speed that we're going.
I would say start today. Just if you're really interested in how money moves, how it works, how it affects business, economies, start today. It's gonna be interesting journey. I would recommend joining some startup. It may be not your paid job, but if you will join some company, you can learn from inside how it works. Try to get internship in some banks or in fintechs, and if you're passionate enough, you will find your place and you will you'll be happy about this. But if there is not enough passion, like if you see payment schemes, read about this and you don't feel it is really interesting, comes to you as a boring stuff, don't even start. Do something else, because if in this in enterprise sales and in fintech, you have to be the best. You cannot be average, because otherwise you will not be survived, and this cannot come without passion.
Yeah, very well said. Vadim, I always ask this as the last question to my guests, and that is about the word bold. What does that mean to you personally?
Oh, this is the toughest question I got. Bold for me is just like a synonym of cool, this kind of cool. This is how I see it. So that's pretty simple answer from my end, but I can tell you, like, Bold Award was, by the way, we haven't mentioned this, but maybe you even forgot this. One of my company's previous Ethereum Labs was awarded by Bold Award, so we hold this award. It's somewhere still mentioned somewhere in the internet.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, wow.
yes,
Well,
so
good to hear that. Which year was that?
maybe 2023.
Okay.
I don't actually, I think 2022, 2023.
Yeah, probably. That was our probably the second and third because we had to come back after COVID or something. Well,
We
that's great. Yeah.
celebrated a lot, I tell you.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, this is why we exist. We exist to celebrate innovations, and we do it very well. We're very proud of like the way how we do it in a way that we connect people, we connect the ecosystem, and you're part of that too. Vadim, great having you here at Bold Talks. Thank you for joining me in this Bold Talk series, and looking forward to reconnect again. Until that time, take care, be great, be cool, and be bold.
Thanks, Epi. Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers.